What's up, guys? It is Green Handle Guy here. So did some work on the D-Max today, this weekend actually. Spent quite a bit of time trying to just do things that I have been needing to do and wanting to do and just haven't done. So it was a good, nice day, not too hot, in the 70s, and no rain, pretty good day. So what I did is I did a EGR block off plate, and there's a little bit of a trick to how to do that, and I had to go searching through quite a few videos and some forums and on how the best way to attack that is, because it's back up against the firewall a bit and it's hard to get to the bolts, and I've been kind of scratching my head a little bit trying to figure out the best way to get it done. So I did that, and then I did a PCV Reroute. Now these are cheap. The blocker plate was like 12 bucks. I've had it now for probably 6-8 months. The PCV Reroute was probably 15 bucks, and they don't look good. I mean, bottom line, PCV Reroute looks a little trashy. I'm gonna put a catch can, probably. I get paid Friday, so I'll probably order a catch can and put a catch can on here. But for right now, this does the job, and gets the oil out of my intake system. So I've got a boot that needs to be replaced. I've ordered it. It'll be here this next week, and it's just because the oil from 100 and I think I'm at 186,000, 188,000 miles of just the oil and the pressure and just deterioration, and I've got a bad boot, and so it's been leaking on that side of the truck for about the last week and a half. I just haven't had a chance to get in there. I tore it out Friday night, took a look, saw that it was the boot, and ordered a new one, which, like I said, will be here this week. So this weekend was about kind of hopefully preventing that from happening later on in the future with the new boot, as well as just getting the soot and the oil out of the face of my turbo and just out of the equation altogether. So here's my PCV Reroute. As you can see, I just basically cut out the old T that would have went down into the turbo mouthpiece there. I also used a bar stool. You can get them at Walmart, bar stool cap, and put it on there with a hose clamp, and then cut the piece that would normally go where that bar stool cap is, cut that out, put on a new 5/8 inch hose. That's all 5/8 inch hose, and then a brass 1/2 inch T, and then tightened it all down, and then just ran the hose down along the firewall here, and that just gets like I said, gets the oil out of the face of the turbo, and hopefully out of my induction system. Just gets it out of there, so I don't have to deal with that going forward. And then I did the blocker plate. Now, for me, it was a difficult task. You can see it kind of down there. It was a difficult task because you can't position the wrenches on this side to try and wrench. You have to get up under there and put the wrenches down on the back side of the turbo there. So it's a 12 millimeter, and if you have a swivel head ratchet, that's that'll work best. What I suggest is if you've got an electric ratchet, break them loose with the swivel and then get the electric ratchet in there. That way you're not having to inch it. I mean, because it quite literally is just an inch or two, inch and a half of movement is all you have. And I've gotten all scraped up. So you can get, I didn't even think about it till the end, you can get an electric ratchet back there. I have a Milwaukee, and loosened them up and then tightened them down as tight as it would go, which I think mine's like 35 foot-pounds or something, and then went in there with a regular socket and cranked down a little bit tighter. You don't want to go too tight because you definitely don't want to break them, but that's what I did. Now I'm going to tell you, I have not thrown a code yet. I took it for a drive. I've done probably about 20 miles on it, and I still do not have the check engine light on. Now that may not always be the case. I'm going to drive it tomorrow to work. It's 10 miles from here to there and 10 miles back. So I will see if that works out. And if it pops on, I'll let you know in the next video. But it is only a check engine light. So like my truck right now has a burnout check engine light because it was on constantly when the turbo had issues, and I just haven't replaced it, partially because I have a bad glow plug and it kicks on the check engine light, and it's annoying. So but I do have an Edge CTS, and so I go in there and I've been checking to see if the EGR code has come on, and it has not yet. So like I said, I've got about 20 miles on it and it hasn't come on yet. Now what's funny is I've had it come on in the past before I put the blocker plate, so I'm curious to see what happens. So I know that the sensor works. So the next step, like I said, is going to be putting in the catch can, and then that'll button up, and then putting in that new boot. So like I said, on the plate, if you're going to put a plate in, it's a cheap fix. Yes, it's a cheap way to go. As long as you've still got your EGR cooler there, you shouldn't have any issues with it blowing the bellows on your up pipe, because that EGR cooler is supporting the up pipe and keeping it where it should be. So that was part of the reason I went with the EGR block off plate versus like a cheap EGR delete, is so that I just keep that intact for right now until I can afford to just replace the up pipe and do a whole proper EGR delete. But for right now, this keeps the soot from getting into the system, and I've got the oil taken care of. So also, I will say that I have noticed my spool up is a bit quicker, and it only makes sense because it's no longer diverting those exhaust gases away from the turbo and into the EGR system. It's allowing all of those exhaust gases to go into the turbo, and it does make a difference. I took it for a drive a second time just to make sure that I wasn't having the placebo effect, and it does make a difference. So if you decide to do the EGR block off, you're gonna notice a little bit of difference in the spool up, because like I said, you're getting more exhaust into the turbo and getting that spooled up quicker. So anyway guys, that's what I did this weekend. You guys have a great weekend, great week, and